Good morning, my friends. It's a little bit dark in here because it's only 6:30 and I've only got this lamp going right here, so that's all I got going. Anyway, welcome to another edition of Coffee Talk. I actually miss old Sage Wanderer. He doesn't do a lot of videos anymore. I mean, of course, I might not have subscribed to him on this channel either, but he doesn't seem to do a lot either. And hey, have an English muffin. What? Anyway, today is Saturday. It's almost 7 o'clock. In a couple hours, I'll be roaming away and going off and doing what I usually do. But I wanted to come on here and talk again about good old coronavirus. And you see, now a lot of people do not believe Alex Jones. They really don't. They don't believe him. I mean, oh, he's a conspiracy nut. But da 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 da. Well, here's one of the things that I'm going to tell you about good old Alex Jones. Now, Glenn Beck, I finally can remember the guy's name. I'm getting kind of older there, and every so often. But anyway, Glenn Beck was a radio show host of Genesis Radio. Okay, that's exactly where Alex Jones was a member of. So, the funny thing about this is that they were friends. Then all of a sudden, Glenn Beck decided that he thought that maybe he was going to expose this guy because for whatever reason. So on here on YouTube, there is a video that Glenn Beck has done, a documentary about Alex Jones being Bill Hicks. Now, I won't label this in my video because I don't want people just to look for the Bill Hicks and find this here. But Bill Hicks, stand-up comedian, who died of pancreatic cancer at 30-some years old. I think it was 33, like a Masonic number, which is kind of funny. And the thing about it was that a lot of guys that young don't get that. Like when Swayze got it, I think he was over 40. You know, look at Alex Trebek, he's 70 or something like that. Bader Ginsburg is 80. And she'd had it for a while, but still, they all had it older. This guy got it younger, and it seems to be it's smoking. Now, I know someone within my own family that got that and died, and sure enough, it went back to smoking. Now, I did smoke when I was younger. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But that's where that comes from. Well, anyway, so let's go back to this. So, Alex Jones, I still listen to the podcast because there's ways that I do it, like on, I think it's called Simple Radio. I think that's the app. You can get the InfoWars radio show. I think you can still go to the website and watch it there. They banned him on YouTube. They banned him on Facebook. They banned him on Twitter. And you don't want to know why they banned him? Because he's telling you the truth. Not all truths, partial truths. Because remember what they say, that the Illuminati has to tell you things before they happen. So, it was about, I don't know, a year or maybe just a few months before that special event happened that was in this month, about 9 years ago. On TV, I watched it, and then they replayed it here on YouTube. There was a video about these guys that found out about this thing that was going to happen. And so the movie goes on and on and on, and then it gets near the end, and these guys are on a plane, and they realize that, oh no, we're on the plane. And they look out, they get into the front of the plane with no one driving, and it's going like this, and they see the towers coming at them. And they're like, oh no! Then, about a year later, the event really happened. Simpsons is another very good thing. Now, and I'm not telling you that any of this is true, it's just odd. So when the Simpsons first came out, but they've had a lot of things, like they've got Trump and this and that, and all these things. Well, you got to realize that the guy who originally, and still does, but I think they're taking it off the air, predict the future, well, the guy's a Mason. Gerning's a Mason. So they must know future events. So that's where I'm trying to go with all this, is what I'm trying to tell you is that more than likely the ET you seek is nothing more than you and me from farther in the future, coming back to make sure that their future is going to be the way it is. If we variate it all down a different timeline, then a lot of these people won't exist. So they got to come here and make sure that this happens, that chip happens, that this happens, so they exist in their timeline. Because if you go back into time and check things out, they're going to say that Germany won the war. And what they ended up doing was having to keep doing this so that our timeline would continue, because in reality, they won. And now here is this actually is real. You can go find it somewhere. If you Google it, you might. They have a chronometer that they send up into the sky. I think it's out in, not Alaska, but out there, and it comes down every time, and it's the same thing, like January 25th, 1960 something, 65, something like that. Every time. So that shows you that there is a time vortex out there. And then don't you find this funny that when the NASA rockets have got to go and they leave here, it's always got to be the right azimuth to get out of here. But when they come back, they can come back at almost any time. Well, and they always talk about this window. Well, maybe it's a time window, time and space. Out there is all different. And sure it is, because the stars that we see, a lot of those are gone. They're dead. So we're going to go back to good old Alex Jones, and we're going to talk about that. So Glenn Beck came on, and he talked about who this guy is and what he is and when this all happened. There are times when you watch some of the Bill Hicks videos where there's shades of Alex Jones in him. Like, he can rant just like what Alex Jones sounds like, and that's what I got from smoking a lot. One of the things that's kind of funny is that Alex Jones professes to be a certain age, but he looks a bit older. You know what I mean? Says he's like 46 or something like that, but doesn't he look like he's almost 60? And Bill Hicks would be about 60. Bill Hicks had something to do with Waco, and it turned out that was one of Alex Jones's first things. When you come out and find out that the best friend of Bill Hicks is one of the best friends of Alex Jones. Bill Hicks talked about having a thing on his TV show called Orange Drink. Well, isn't that funny? Because now that good old Alex Jones is out there, he's showing this product that's something to do with Orange Drink. It's very funny. It's just little off things. So anyway, the Illuminati has to tell you what things are, so you know what is, they tell you. Then you can't say I didn't know. So now that we've got all of that behind us, but I do believe this guy could be this person. Oops, sorry. To send you false truths. Well, not false truths, semi-truths, so you kind of know. He said about this pandemic that it would come back. Well, it has. 1 month before the election, they're saying, it's going to be worse. You see, this guy here, oh no. And then this side, that guy here, that's why I don't like to vote. Because a lot of guys, they think that this old, orange man is like this smart dude and knows everything. And I'm sorry, a guy sitting in the White House telling me what I'm going to do, I don't believe. I don't care who it is. Sleepy Joe, I don't want him either. So there it is. My fence is no fence. I don't like either of these guys. I don't want to vote for either of them. I think there's an agenda with the one side. They're going to step him out once he's in. I mean, not once. They might take a while. But they will bleed him out, and then in will come, who, and she'll be president, and the other person that no one really likes, the paper shredder, will be VP. Now, if you look at numbers, what they put on the internet, it doesn't look like that guy can win. But I can tell you this. They're already going stupid again about some stupid thing, outcome of some other thing that happened. I don't remember what it is, but I'm not bringing it up because I'm keeping race out of here. Because, like I said, I'm the farthest thing from a racist you're ever going to see. Yet then again, they tell me I am because I have the wrong skin color. Oh, yes, you are, but you don't know my upbringing. You don't know how things happen for me. So you're going to sit there and tell me that I'm privileged. I'm probably going to tell you over certain people, probably not. Am I privileged over LeBron? No. Any NFL player? No. So there it is. Anyway. Alex Jones said that this virus would come back. Well, it is. You got Dr. Gates telling you 2022, this and that. I got a friend of mine who follows me on one of my channels, which I put these videos on both channels because I can give you links. I can tell you where to go. Only a few people will really come and check me out. I have to subscribe to you first and then say, hey, here I am. This is me. Because there's no way to PM anymore or DM or whatever it is. So I put them up on both channels. But anyway, this friend of mine on one of these, I think it's this one, and I don't even know if he has a freaking channel anymore. Oh, I'm a grown man and I'm not going to do this. Well, I understand that, my friend. I do. Me too. I want to do what I want to do. But here's where my line is drawn within all this, even though I'm like everybody else. When you go into a major store, I find a little different. When you go into a mom and pop store that depends on business to keep on going, like we have a few here, I'm probably, out of respect to the owner of that small store, going to wear this. Just to give the guy the respect to keep his store. When I walk out, I may take it off. But I'm not going to have it, when I roam around in my streets and stuff like that, I don't wear it. I'm just telling you. But when I go into a little mom and pop, I do wear it because I want these guys to keep their businesses. I don't want them to get shut down. These people need to have their businesses. So to my friend, if you're out there, just respect the small stores. That's all I'm saying. Even if you only do this, just for them. Don't do it for the government. Don't do it for the whatever. Do it for the small mom and pop. That's where I'm coming from with that. And this may go a little longer, but it won't be more than 20. So it turned out that Alex Jones was right. It came back. You got a guy who is not a doctor trying to tell you what you're going to do. I find that very bullshit and intrusive. Okay? So Dr. Gates is not a doctor. It's not how it is. And I'm going to tell you this. When they decide that they want to put the little item in here, no. What do they talk about? Elon Musk is already coming out with what they call a brain chip. Right? For Alzheimer's, that would be great. I don't really care. I don't find that really mark of the beast in that because, that guy doesn't have, but it helps him with his brain cognitivity, however you say it. And you can find him if he's lost. So in that way, there. But just for a regular person, no. So we're talking here and we're talking here. In his right hand and in his forehead. Isn't that written in a book somewhere? Yes. I've always found Revelations of the Bible to be what I consider a time travel book. That's the way it is. I feel like it's kind of like the Christmas Carol movie, and the guy was on the island, it was kind of like that, past, present, future, same thing happened, guy came, told him all these things, they happened. So, Mark of the Beast is a chip, more than likely, and they're already telling you they want to do it. They want to get rid of cash altogether, like I said, and we'll start out with just this or this, because I already have this on my phone. Pay, right? Chips in here. Most people are right-handed, so you're going ding, 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 so you're already kind of doing it. It's just that once it's intrusively in you, that's when the whole thing happens. Why do you think that these initial Wi-Fi towers were thrown up here? Do they work with your phone? Sure they do. But once this is in here, it works for that. You're going to be able to, all your people that work at places that don't let you have phones that work, well, I'm one, won't matter. Call so-and-so, and you'll hear it. Oh, wow, how's it going, Larry? Bluetooth in your ear. See? Those cell phone towers were initially built for what they are, but they'll be built, but they're going to be used for something else. They're for the 5G. But I will say this about 5G before I get out of here. I have a few friends who already have it. You can log on to it in their home. Nothing's happened to me over almost a year. So I don't believe that this 5G, is it good for you to go through you? Well, probably not, but is it doing all of this stuff? I don't know if I believe that either. So we kick back to the old original thing with Bill Hicks and Alex Jones. I listen to the radio show because a lot of things that they talk about do end up happening, and they do end up coming to pass. They just take longer sometimes. But the whole mainstream media has got this guy wrapped out as a stupid guy and doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh, he's a ranter and a raver. Well, if you go back and look at Bill Hicks, he's actually done some stand-up comedy routines where when he gets into the political end, he looks just like him. He was sitting there one day talking to somebody, and he went, and the way he looked, it was Alex Jones all over the place. And I thought, yeah, through some cosmetic surgery and a little bit of this and a little bit of that, make a guy look a little different, use him as your Illuminati puppet, and have him put out truths that are not completely true, but are semi-true. So then, you know, what did they do with him to kind of discredit him? They made him a Trumper. Yes. That makes people that don't like Trump hate him. See what I'm saying? So then the mainstream media blasts him. Oh, he's wrong. Yes, he is. I'm going to tell you this right now. For anybody who may know him personally, is that Gucciardi guy actually was a friend of mine on Instagram. I think it's time for him to maybe really just come out and say who he is. He has done it jokingly, but there have been a lot of guys that have called in and called him Bill. Well, you know, Bill. And no one says anything. No one laughs. And they'll say it like 5 times. And I'm thinking, because these guys know him. That's why they're calling him Bill, because his name is Bill. Alex Jones is a character. Is that the little kid that comes on there, Junior, his son? Yeah. Little Hicks Jr. But he's not Alex Jones. The original Alex Jones, if you go back and look at him, doesn't look that much like this Alex Jones. So anyway, all I know is I believe that this guy, and now I'm going to tell you this before I get out of here. This is the last 3 to 4 minutes of this. How did I ever come across Alex Jones? I was living in Austin, Texas in the year 2001 when all that stuff happened. Okay? I think there was more to me than just living there. I think it was a reason why I lived there. So anyway, I was at home watching Access TV, public access TV. And on comes this guy, Alex Jones. And he talked about Bohemian Grove. And he showed this. And I watched that whole thing when it first came out on public access. I was there. Now, that would have been one thing, that he got in there once. But later on, just a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, he took another group of guys in there, got in. They all got caught. But guess who got away? Yeah, isn't that funny? They did let him out of jail. They didn't face anything, but he got away. They were on a boat. There was a camera filming them coming onto the island. How the fuck did that happen? They weren't alerted by the cameras on the damn little in the forest? They weren't? Well, how come? They shows them from the island filming them as they come onto the beach. Then they go in and they're walking around. All of a sudden, here comes the security. They all bail. Only guy got away was you-know-who. They all got let go, but for trespassing, that's all they got. But he got away again. Then I began to question it. And I thought, yeah, okay. So then we'll get off of that. I got about 4 more minutes, and we're going to go into this. So then along comes Jesse Ventura, and he has his conspiracy theory show. And each and every time he exposed a conspiracy that looked like it was going to be true, the story gets shut down. What happened eventually? They took a show off the air. Pretty funny. Well, my friends, this is running into a 20-minute video. Most of my videos do come right off the cuff. I have a little subject I think about, and I come on here and do it. A lot of people were talking about their first radio shows. Mine was on a little cassette recorder. I started it out. I had personalities. I had guests. I had this. I had that. And they were just dumb little things of a kid, but I always dreamed of one day being on a platform, and here it is. And even though there's only 45 of you, I'm still on a platform. I'm doing what I always wanted to do. So anyway, my friends, I'm about ready to get out of here. We're about 5 minutes longer. Peace. I'll be seeing you. You guys have a good weekend. You might hear from me again maybe on Monday, maybe Sunday, but this is it for today. I used to do videos every day, but now I'm kind of cut. So you guys have a really good day. And I'll be seeing you. And eyes to the skies if you can. And it's been cleared for the last couple little bits. Peace.